Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojo-Baka, and looking at our stories. The Bank of Ghana has given the firm assurance that it has adequate dollars to meet demand from commercial banks and businesses in the country. It is therefore rejecting reports of shortage of dollars on the market. More in this report.
The assurance follows report that the market has been hit by some supply challenges, making it difficult for commercial banks to meet the needs of individuals and businesses over the past weeks. Some individuals have told Joy Business that there were challenges in withdrawing from their own dollar accounts. But the Bank of Ghana insists the challenges come about due to the fact that the commercial banks are trying to strictly enforce the laws covering foreign exchange transactions in the country. Some persons close to the Bank of Ghana have also told Joy Business that the bank has carried out its own investigations on these issues, and it has come out that most of these individuals are having challenges with documentations to aid the transfers and transactions. Another senior person with the Bank of Ghana has told Joy Business that the central bank has a duty to manage the country's reserves prudently. Therefore, it will continue to implement measures that will ensure that all the foreign exchange laws are complied with by all players in the banking and financial sectors.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Association of Banks has revealed that it is looking into complaints filed by customers of difficulty in accessing their foreign exchange accounts as well as dollar shortage. John Ewa is the chief executive of the association.
We also started picking feeds about a week ago.
It's true.
We also started picking fees that customers, have started complaining that when they make calls at the bank for transfers, there are delays. Sometimes the delays could be attributed to perhaps lack of availability of FX. We've taken steps. We are picking data. I cannot speak exactly to it now, but in the course of a few days to come, we'll come very clear on what the key issues are. Because I was speaking to the banks, a lot of the banks that I was speaking to, they said there's no problem. So long as you have the right documentation and everything, they will be able to execute your transaction. Unfortunately, the complaints haven't stopped coming. Even today, we received, I think, 2 or so people coming to say what is happening. So it's a matter that we are picking up and we'll definitely investigate it.
All right, let's analyze these issues better. And we know the media budget is around the corner. Joining us via phone is economist Professor Peter Quartey for us to have a conversation. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to speak to us here on Business Live. First of all, do you think that the assurance given by the Bank of Ghana of adequate dollars to meet demand suffices basically to restore calm in the market?
The central bank has adequate dollars. I mean, if you look at our reserves, we have reserves that can cover about more than 4.5 months of import, and therefore we have reserves. We have forex to meet demand. Except that businesses need documentation. Some businesses do not have the proper documentation, and the Bank of Ghana is enforcing its exchange regulations. So if a customer doesn't meet the documentations or doesn't provide the needed documents, then certainly the bank will be slow in giving out forex. We also have instances where some customers are playing games of trying to gain from the what we call arbitrage. You notice that the forex or the black market rate is much higher than the bank rate. So people are trying to withdraw and sometimes try and sell on the open market. So banks are also being careful, given that their rates are low. They don't want to be taken advantage of and all of that. But the assurance is also being given by the bank that if you have dollars, you have deposited dollars, they have the forex to issue out anytime you demand. They want to also protect their customers, people who have actually deposited dollars. So if you walk in with CDs, you don't have dollar, and yet you want to change, they're also very careful not to issue out dollars, and then when their customers make demands, it becomes a challenge.
All right. Following that assurance again from the Bank of Ghana, the Ghana Association of Banks, which of course we played John Dewa, saying that, well, they will be looking into complaints filed by customers of difficulty in accessing their foreign accounts. And I guess that is a prudent move to go by, right?
Oh, yes, certainly. I mean, there could be some peculiar cases with some specific banks. All the banks are not homogeneous. Sometimes there could be a bank that has been sanctioned by the regulator for regulatory infractions, etc. So they may not be able to supply all the dollars because of the sanctions on trading on the treasury market, etc. But they need to look into this to know what exactly is causing. But I think this might be isolated cases. I don't think it's a generality.
All right, let's switch topics to one other interesting one we are learning. Thursday, we have our media budget, and I want to know your thoughts and expectations.
Well, one major thing for me that I would like to see is our revenue and expenditure numbers. So far, we don't have much information as to how well we are doing with our fiscal deficit, and also the issue about arrears, how much we owe to contractors, how much we owe to other institutions. We could have a very prudent fiscal numbers, but then if there's a lot of arrears, then we have to be concerned about that. So I would want to see the numbers, the fiscal figures, in as much as we appreciate the appreciation against inflation. I would like to see how much we're going to invest to stimulate agriculture so our food prices will come down. I would like to see much more of the extra revenue that have been gained, and then also with the tax that were removed, whether we have found substitutes, whether we have been able to achieve our revenue targets because we gave some taxes were removed totally. And I believe this will be very much of interest, not just to me, but to many Ghanaians.
And for you, it's good you've mentioned revenue matters. What are you looking forward to? The IMF has already warned us about our revenue numbers. And what do you think has to change this time around in addressing our revenue shortfalls in the media budget, you would say?
Well, I think in the budget that was read, we were told that we are removing some tax handles and that we're also going to ensure efficiency. I'm yet to see, or I'm yet to hear how much we have been able to do that. What efficiency measures have we injected into the system, and what are the results? What are the low-hanging fruits? What have we gained in terms of tax collection, in terms of tax efficiency, and all that? So it will be great to know this, in addition to what the concerns raised by the IMF. If we have injected a lot of efficiency in our tax administration, I believe we can show up the numbers from other sources of revenue.
And Professor Bizakwate, in another breath, we are learning that the government is moving to consolidate all accounts of various MMDAs into one single treasury account. And I guess this is a good move, you would believe.
Hello?
Professor Kwate, can you hear me?
I didn't hear the last bit of what you said.
All right, so I'm saying that government is moving to consolidate all accounts of MMDAs into one single treasury account. And I'm saying that this, I bet, is going to be a prudent one, isn't it?
Well, to some extent, because if you have accounts scattered all over one institution with many, many accounts, they are paying bank charges, and sometimes government is unable to regulate or account for all the revenue, IGF, etc. That should be fine. Except that we have to be cautious. The over-centralization is a problem. If you centralize everything and we now have to access, all these MMDs have to access money from one account, one institution, it becomes a challenge. So in as much as we want to ensure efficiency, want to reduce costs, want to ensure that we are able to monitor what goes on, we ought to tread cautiously, not to over-centralize and create bureaucracy where if you want to pay someone, it takes so long before we're able to access funds from the system. MMDAs would have to be able to sometimes have an account where they can easily assess and undertake major or emergency actions or activities. Centralization may not work if you are not efficient in ensuring that payments are swift.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Peter Quartey. Grateful speaking to you here on Business Live. He is an economist and also the director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE. Now, the executive director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ISE, Ben Boakye, has called on government to make energy sector stability a key priority in the upcoming media budget. Now, speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of a high-level forum on Ghana's energy sector, Mr. Boakye emphasized the need for urgent and decisive action to address ongoing challenges in the sector. More in this report.
So the negotiations are ongoing. I'm not sure by next week if there is any wins the minister may want to touch on them. Increasing revenue collection with discipline at ECG to pay.
We still apologize for that loss of sound there. We shall rectify that and bring you that story subsequently. Now, the move by the Finance Ministry to remove the COVID-19 levy from the country's tax laws has received a massive endorsement from the International Monetary Fund after an engagement with government. This gives the government the approval to go ahead with the move, which is likely to feature in the media budget review by the Finance Minister on Thursday. Now, speaking to Joy Business, Commissioner of Domestic Tax Revenue Division at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Edward Apenting Jamra, disclosed that stakeholders agreed on the removal of the COVID-19 levy as well as other tax handles hampering business growth.
I think from the engagement with stakeholders and the IMF, issues that the minister even indicated in the budget, for instance, the removal of the COVID levy is something that has been agreed. I think so far with our interaction with the stakeholders, everybody is of the view that this levy should be taken off when the reform is completed. Then the removal of the cascading effect of the levies, treating the levies as part of the VAT mechanism, where businesses can claim inputs, claim deduction, is also one which generally has been accepted by all. The issue on refund is also something which also cut across both sides. So these are some of we having by and large most of the issues have been agreed by the business community, but we will still do more consultation to see which of them should be adapted.
Still on taxes and the media budget, the Economic Governance Platform is calling for a sunset clause on the newly introduced energy sector levy in Ghana. Coordinator of the platform, Abdul Karim Mohammed, emphasized the need for transparency in the implementation and utilization of the levy. He made the remarks during a pre-mid-year budget program organized by the platform. More in this report.
The levy, that's the 1 cedi on the litre that the government has introduced. We realize that there's no sunset clause. We don't have any specific timeline that the government intends to do this. If you look in our history, it has become the easiest and I must say the laziest way by which government always tries to raise revenue to address energy sector inefficiencies. We've had the experience of President Kufuor's regime where we started paying the toll recovery levy and we are still paying it till today. Under the previous John Mahama administration, they introduced the ESLA levy that we have been paying. We thought it was going to be short-lived, but we are still paying it. So now that we are having another levy, we need to have clarity on the timelines. How long is this levy going to be there? So that it does not become a permanent feature when it comes to the price of fuel that we buy in this country. Because when fuel prices increase, it affects a lot of goods and services.
A reminder, you're still watching Business Live. We have a story for you after this break. Welcome back to Business Live. Let's now touch on our lead stories. Now, Ghana's cocoa exports have dropped sharply, with volumes falling by over 50% in 2024 compared to the previous year. Now, that's according to the 2024 Auditor General's report, which also revealed that despite the decline, total earnings from cocoa rose by more than 37% due to higher global prices. Winston Taki has more.
Ghana recorded a steep drop in cocoa bean exports in 2024, even though total earnings from cocoa rose significantly. The data shows that Ghana exported 248 tons of cocoa beans in 2024, down from 533,057 tons in 2023, a drop of over 50%. Exports of processed cocoa products like butter, paste, and powder also declined, falling from 240,897 tons in 2023 to 192,429 tons in 2024. Yet, total cocoa export receipts jumped by 37.5% from $1.26 billion in 2023 to $1.73 billion in 2024. This increase was largely driven by higher global prices and steady performance in value-added cocoa products. A major concern flagged in the report was the sharp decline in inflows from syndicated cocoa loans, which are key to financing Ghana's cocoa sector. In 2024, syndicated loan proceeds dropped from $681 million to just $50 million, a decline of more than 92%.
You're still watching Business Live, and right about now, I'd like to take you to myjoyonline.com/business for some quick reads on that portal. Finance Minister to present media budget review on July 24, 2025, and of course, it's on Thursday. We've got to stick and stay here with us on Joy News for all the updates from Parliament with regards to the media budget presentation. Also on that portal, BoG dismisses dollar shortage claim, saying there is enough to meet demand, and we brought you that story here on Business Live as well. More stories on myjoyonline.com/business. Do visit the portal and get yourselves updated. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Grateful serving you. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.